How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve. Guys, welcome to the TRM show. My name is Mathew Park. I have with me our TRM mentor coach, Isaac Miller. Fresh off the weekend as we finished our little training / seminar in Dallas, Isaac, and it was quite the event, Isaac, would you say?
Oh, it was a great time. Super exciting to be around a bunch of just awesome high-level coaches who all want to improve and build and grow and make a bigger impact.
That's it, man. That's it. So Jaime, guys, actually is away on a vacation right now for a week and a half in Greece with our TRM friends, Emily and Ross. Jaime, having fun at the wedding there, champ. And we're going to have fun with Coach's Corner today with Isaac and I. So we're going to dive deep with the topic around one of our coaches in TRM.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
Awesome, man. So obviously, one person we chose to pick today, won't mention any names, more of just kind of their business model, has been in TRM now for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in 1 month. And, this person has, of course, grown a lot. Would you agree, Isaac?
Oh, yeah. Tons.
Yeah, totally.
And I would say it's not just like monetary growth is one thing, which he has seen a lot of monetary growth, but also going from clearly being a workaholic to now, spending a lot of good quality time with his family, doing other hobbies, growing his business, being more active in the, networking communities that he's in, and still being able to scale his company at the level that he has.
Agreed. And he's, of course, gone through phases of growth, in TRM over the years. He came in wanting to just grow one thing, his online coaching business. It was his first goal, $20K a month in his business, which he hit, within TRM pretty quickly. And then it was, from there, optimizing his training team, his coaching team, the hybrid model, and keep growing his online.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's really cool that what we teach in TRM does translate over to everything else. Like, he had a pretty good kind of gym setup in terms of where he got to coach his kind of one-on-one and semi-private, group of people. And it wasn't really like a full gym, but it was pretty close to it. And from there, he was able to, what he learned in TRM, not only grow his online, but grow that gym and be able to build it to, an entire team of trainers and a thriving facility, to the point where he had to expand. Like, it got too small for him. He had to expand.
So true, man. I think you probably can recall this, Isaac, but there was a time, I think it was within the first 6 months to a year he was with us. We'd always ask him, like, what's the bigger vision of what you're looking for? And I don't remember this entirely, but I don't remember a gym was really in the picture at that moment. It was more about online optimization because he was renting a space, a different gym, somewhere else with his trainers. So he wasn't looking at building a gym, but all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but it was about almost 2 years ago. He had this light switch turn for him. I'm not sure if you remember this or not, if it was one of our calls. And he's like, I want to build this dream gym. He found the property, the land, and built it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been cool to watch that growth and projection, just seeing the mindset shift around what's actually possible without burning out.
Agreed. So are you cool about if we kind of go back and forth some questions to sort of like share things he did or along the way, so we can kind of like share a little bit on Coach's Corner about things that this individual used to grow his business?
Absolutely. And I guess like my first question for you is more so along the lines of, you always do like the first calls where we establish, our core offers and what it is that we're actually trying to build out.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of us in TRM, we kind of understand what that process is like, but when it came to the mindset around what he wanted to accomplish, what would you say was his mindset and his goals then versus what they've grown to be now?
I am glad you asked that question, Isaac. That's a good question. I remember the first call like it was yesterday with this individual, because I had this like TRM plate as almost like a promotional plate on the back of my wall. And he's like, I want that thing. That was in the first call. He's like, I want that plate, that 20K plate. I was like, okay, cool. So to me, it was like he wanted that monetary plate, as this involved, of course, to bodybuilding. So wanted that plate. And he wanted to grow his business over 20K. That was his first goal. But as he grew, it was about 7 or 8 months after he was in TRM. I remember this call like it was yesterday as well, because there was a lot of emotion shared on this call with this individual. He was almost in tears. He said, Matt, I want to lead my family better. I want to be a better leader at home with my wife and my daughter. And it hit my heart, like heartstrings, like big time, because I could see how much he's putting into the business, his online coaching. He was, like you mentioned, he was working a lot of hours, and he says, Matt, I actually asked him a question. I actually asked him, how are you leading your family? How are you leading at the home front? And you could see him almost like not say a word for like 10 seconds. Like it was almost like hitting his heart, And to me, that was a turning point for him. I saw him massively turn into like making an effort now to focus more on his wife and his daughter as a key pillar as he's growing his company. And all of a sudden his smile grew, his energy started to shift progressively over time, and his business started to grow.
Yeah. And we always hear like our biggest bottleneck is us. And oftentimes we think like, okay, what skill am I trying to gain? Like what decision am I making that in my business that's keeping it from growing? But sometimes it's like the personal stuff. What am I, pushing away? What am I turning off that should be, part of my actual like core pillars? What am I, not focusing on that's actually causing the mental block towards where I need to go?
Totally, man. Totally. Let me ask you, Isaac, like from you know this person now for 3 years, and what you've seen with him and TRM over the years, what's the biggest thing, or maybe one of the things you noticed in the first year or two of seeing him grow? Was there like a thing you noticed shift in him, or you saw in one of your coaching calls?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I've seen is most of us get into coaching and get into this business as what I would call a solopreneur. And, we're trying to get this, just going and doing everything on our own. And it was once he made that kind of mental shift about his family that, you noticed he started leaning more into SOPs and offboarding and, delegating. And what happened was not a constraint on his business. What actually happened was he like 10x'd his business, because now he's empowering others to, get more responsibility in the gym and in the company. And it allowed him to kind of step away without the fear of it failing without him, so that he could focus on family and on, experiences and being, more present in the moment with people. And I'm sure that also helped him be more present with his team, with his staff, and with his clients. So I think that's a big shift that I've seen in him, is his ability to let go and let other people do some things, and his ability to lead, to make do it at the best of their ability.
That's a good share, man. Totally. Yeah, I like that.
Now, question for you, though, compared to when it comes to like leadership, what were some of the key things that needed to be kind of offboarded to actually step into higher leverage tasks? And that could be specific to him or just in general for anyone who's kind of at that level.
Awesome question. This may not be a business first answer, but I'll share kind of a sequence of events. But the first one, I think what I noticed, he didn't really say very much, but I could see it happening organically when he let it home better and actually started to like include his wife more in the process. That's when his bigger vision came off. Like it's almost like they became a team at home, and in their marriage more than ever before. He moved from being just a solo pusher, right, to being a team, which 10x his company, which is the first thing. You mentioned delegation and SOPs and team. That obviously happened for sure, over that next year. And it still obviously is for him as well. but he leaned on more of his coaches, and he started to actually start to get online trainers with his team as well that helped offboard clients. And I asked him a question. I says, right now, how many clients do you want to have in your online, just yourself in your online company where you're just coaching by yourself, where you can give your best and still be able to focus on building your vision and growing your business? And he said 60. I was like, cool. How many do you have right now? I think it was like 7 or 8 or something like that. So he slowly, found his 60 he really, really enjoyed working with around that ballpark. And then progressively over time, as clients moved to a different coach, his team or whatever, he found his sweet spot and allowed him to, of course, have his price point, have the clients he wanted to work with, and grow his team with the intern as well.
Perfect. And I guess one more question with that. Because having this bigger vision, having the understanding of like needing to find the sweet spot and being able to grow, and all these things take a level of introspection. How important is it to be able to step away from your business to gain that clarity?
Huge. And I just experienced that this weekend, Isaac. So, hand goes up. I'm one of those people, even though we're in TRM. So it's huge. And sometimes we think when we go away or we get away, and all of us probably fall in that boat once in a while in this process. And so we have people like us here and others here helping us as well, is it helps you become creative again. It gives you a chance to breathe and see a bigger picture. And you asked me a question in the car on Friday that I'm going to share online and be vulnerable about this. What is your BHAG goal, Mathew Park? And open book here, guys. Even as a growing TRM, is that Isaac asked that question to me in the car, and I had to sit and think. I had an answer, but not really. I was almost quiet for like half an hour, but it drew out a bigger vision, right? Because you were thinking of the grander picture of what's bigger in TRM. So, thank you, Isaac, for that. I really appreciate that question you asked me in the car. But also when it comes to, this individual, I think what happened for him is he kept seeing these next pieces fall in for him. When his family at home, at the home front, was starting to really mend and grow, and he had that time, he felt more joy in his heart, more happiness, right? Which enabled him to actually go to work with even more joy and think of, I want to get a gym. And I remember that call. He's like, I got the land, man. Now we're going to get the loan for the property and get this going. And his excitement was through the roof. And his wife was on the call, and I saw her face light up. And it was so invigorating for me seeing that, Isaac, because you and I were at the seminar on Sunday, right? And I think we both felt this energy. When we sat in the front at the beginning and hearing the stories of people, I don't want to get off track. I want to share this for a second. The stories of people that have gone through what we've offered wasn't about the money. It was about how much it changed their life. And I literally had goosebumps for 20 minutes in the room. I'm sure Isaac had the same thing, hearing the stories, and then going back to this individual as well, and seeing, where it was for him in the first year, and then overcoming some of those challenges, because we're so programmed to just grind till it 24/7 or do whatever it takes until you burn out. And that's actually a badge of honor. But as opposed to working smarter and leveraging, you mentioned delegation, like you've been sharing there, to leverage to actually grow a bigger and better business with a team around you.
I love that. And that's what we're all about, being able to actually level up and be like the CEO that steers the ship of your company. And so many, I feel like, not to toot our own horn, but I say this as a member of TRM and not just a mentor and coach, is that a lot of these coaching companies, they just want to teach you how to make sales. They want to teach you how to get money, but they don't actually teach you how to be a CEO of your company. It aligns with you and your innermost goals, and allows you to actually break free from that money trap and actually see growth in a company and build something that can actually leave a legacy. And I think it's something that's kind of unique to us that I really appreciate. And then we get to see a lot of people like this coach who starts with just like, I want that plaque with the 20K because they're, competitive and they have that drive. But in that process, find something so much more than money in a bank account or some zeros on a plaque.
What probably made me smile the most, Isaac, with this coach is seeing the pictures with his family on a vacation and the fun they were having. I was like ecstatic because those memories will never go away.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, my next question to bring this back, to his growth is he's got a certain level of charisma, and he's got certain characteristics that, when people think of this person, like it just, these things kind of immediately come to mind. What would you say are the certain characteristics or traits that he has that has allowed him to be successful?
He's a fast executor. He gets things done relatively fast. I've seen that happen all the time. His drive is impeccable. His passion is indescribable. But it also can blind you with the wrong plan, which he experienced that a couple of times. So those few things, and his personality, as you know, Isaac, he's like a magnet in the gym. You walk in the gym and you see this individual, you want to hug him, high five him. You want him to train you in the gym because he's so fun to, hear him in the gym. So those few things, and he's also probably the most important, has a growth mindset. He always wants to learn. He is an open book, no ego. What do I have to improve on? How can I get better? And I saw his vulnerability start to open up. The first 6 months, he didn't really show it. After that leadership question I asked him on his family, it's like he just made a 180 on one call. And all of a sudden he started to become vulnerable for the first time. And I saw a new person come out of him because of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's awesome that you can cultivate, and find kind of characteristics about somebody through whether it's their history or what they did or, how they are outside of just their business, but then bring those characteristics into their business and allow them to actually understand how those skills and traits that they have can be a good thing for business growth. And he's someone that has seen exponential growth once he started living out his personal, like he's way more real with the way he runs his business than I'd say he was when he first started his business. And it's only grown his company. Never has it hindered it. And so I think there's a good thing about having a level of vulnerability and just being real with your people, with your audience, with your team. And I mean, it shows. It definitely shows.
Do you notice how he also got real with his faith?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of his core pillars, and there's no question about it. Like whenever you see him, like that is Jake. That's like that kind of joint connection between that monetary goal, but having that grounded, base.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really cool to see how you can intertwine those, because we all grow up, I think, kind of, especially if you grew up in a faith-based household, that one is the root of all evil, and you don't chase that. But whenever you can realize that there's there can be an intertwine between your business and your faith, and you can use one to glorify the other, you see a lot of growth. And I've seen that in him for sure.
I love it. Was there anything else, Isaac, in particular that you have seen in this individual from when you first met him in the TRM calls to where he is now that really stands out for you in the change he has achieved?
His ability to communicate. I think as a leader and a business owner in general, like when you're scaling like a real, company, and not just kind of a solopreneur business, but like actually building a company, your ability to speak and communicate in a way that your listeners actually hear, because this is a big thing. Like, we can talk however we want to talk, but if the people we're talking to don't communicate that way, they're not going to pick up on everything you say. And so his ability to communicate in ways where the listener can really understand what he's saying, that's improved so much. And I think it shows in his leadership and the way his team follows him and the way his family follows him, and the way the other TRM members follow him as a leader, and the wisdom that he shares and what he brings to the table on our calls. He's able to communicate so well on points, and I think that's something that has improved dramatically since he first started, and probably had a lot of ideas and a lot of goals, but no real clarity. And now it's like precision vision on where he's going.
Speaking on that, I love that, Isaac, and that was really good. To expand a little more, which was a great answer, Isaac, is what I noticed in reference to that was he was a bit feeling, I think he gave off the rushed feeling the first bit of growing his business, like always in a rush, to now like being in full control. And even though he grew faster now than ever before, the way he communicates, but also the way he's vulnerable and the way he's direct and also authentic on what he wants is more than ever before. And as a result, we've seen him grow faster because of it.
100%. Absolutely. And something I did want to ask you when prepping for this conversation and thinking about who it is that we're talking about, when it comes to execution, because you said he's an executor. One thing I've noticed now that I've been blessed to mentor and coach for a little while in TRM is a lot of people hesitate to execute. And a lot of people, they might overthink things and feel rushed and feel, anxious about, all of the stuff that they're learning. And what about his ability to execute? Like, what was it that you think, the underlying things that allowed him to execute? Was it like his ability to communicate with you and Jaime and know what tasks to actually attack? Was it his ability to lead and offboard tasks immediately? Like, what would you say are the things that allowed him to execute at the level he did? Because I'm sure there was a level of questioning and doubt, but you would never know.
Yeah. Two things. He surrendered his ego of I know it all and I know exactly what to do. That was out of the picture, and I noticed that right off the bat. Two, he was coachable. So when you're coachable, I saw him, even though, he executed, like whenever there was 3 tasks, he would get those 3 things done. I rarely saw him. There were times he wouldn't get all of them done, but it was not like a reoccurring thing. But he like, Matt, I got it done. Matt, I got it done. Even Jaime, I got it done, Jaime, so, but I noticed because he didn't come in with this, like, already know what I have to do. You're just going to give me some advice mentality. He came with like, okay, I'm an open book. I've done what I've done. What do I have to do to improve, Mathew? Right. And then every time we'd share things, he'd be like, okay, cool. I got these 3 things. I'm going to get these things done. And he never questioned anything. He says, I'm going to do it. Right. That was something I saw in this individual that was very cool. Partly, I would say not partly, but it was a part of how he also became eventually a leader in TRM down the road. Is all of our leaders are coachable, have a growth mindset, Isaac. Every one of us have the same core value there. And when you come knowing what you have to do or think you know what you have to do, and that ego is in there, it does shut off how you improve, because now you're in this like back and forth decision making in your mind, which actually creates stress and anxiety for you to perform. You might execute, but you're thinking, did I do the right decision or not? Where he just went all in.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I wish every coach could have that level of growth right off the bat, essentially. And it's not saying that, every coach who doesn't see growth isn't humble, because that's not true. There's a lot of humility, but I think it's also a lot of being able to just trust in your ability to execute. And that's one thing I noticed about Jace. That's one thing sorry, buddy.
It's okay, man. It's okay, buddy.
It's too real. It's too real because he's such a good friend of mine. It's one thing I've noticed, because he wasn't just humble in terms of like, I'm a student here and I know that everything I learn I can put into practice and win. But it's the fact that he had absolute humility in getting the knowledge, but absolute confidence in his ability to make it happen. And that's something that I think is actually really rare. That makes really good, successful people, is like, I'm a student here. I don't know what I don't know. So you're going to teach me, but I do know that once I learn, I can put it into play and it's going to work. And that's something that is surprisingly, unique in a lot of people. And if more people can understand that just that right there, if there's anything to take away from this, it's be humble in learning and be confident in execution. You can go so far with just that little snip right there.
Yeah. And I'll expand before we kind of finish our thing here. One more thing. That was beautiful, Isaac, by the way. He didn't go and jump around like from one grass to the next grass. He was like in his grass, learning everything within his territory, within learning from the coaches, learning from Jaime and you and Laurent and the other leaders and the other clients. And I respect that, because growth mindset is one thing. But when you start jumping around, I'm a big, you and I are both big learners. He's a big learner as well. He loves to read and expand and go to events. That's one thing. But when you start to like jump around and on grasses, it creates indecision in your mind. It creates stress, and you aren't always sure all the time. So hence your results slow down. And you're always starting something.
Doubt.
Yeah.
It creates doubt in your customers.
Exactly. So he's always improving. So that's one thing I wanted to just to share to round that off as well, Isaac.
I love it. This was a good conversation, because he was a good one to break down, because looking at him now, it's like hard to imagine there was ever a time where he was just beginning his journey. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to see, is like, I was doing a coaching call just today with one of my mentees, and he was kind of comparing himself to all the other coaches. And I'm like, you realize though, like, if you look underneath the hood, we're all just normal people that listened, executed, and didn't quit. And eventually, like, we grew. So we've all been right where you're sitting right now, looking at everyone else. And eventually, once you realize, it's just about listening, executing, and not quitting.
Yeah,
it works.
It's true, man. It's true. Isaac, thank you. As always, my man. It's been a pleasure. Spent 3 days together in Dallas, Navigator Coach's Corner, and we had a great week, productive week. So thank you.
Thank you. It was a great time.
You bet, my friends. So guys, watching, listening, guys, check us out, TRM, Trainer Revenue Multiplier. Go check us out on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow our show. Share our episodes on your Instagram stories and tag us. Tag Isaac, Jaime, myself, the TR members, TRM, of course, as well. We're here to support you, guide you. Other than that, Isaac, as always, a pleasure, my man. And keep rocking.
We'll see ya.